First at 4, we are rinsing and repeating the gusty winds as yet another wind advisory has been issued heading into the first half of the weekend. I'll break down how strong the wind gusts are going to be and some rain that's on the way. Your complete forewarned forecast coming up.
A local teenager charged, accused of bringing a gun to school after another student did exactly what needed to be done. Plus, kicked off again, Kanye West versus Elon Musk with questions about free speech hanging in the balance. Paula continues that conversation.
Have we reached a point where we are weaponizing the idea of constitutional free speech?
The problem is that we're human beings, and we didn't envision technology being faster than our judgment.
That's what we're looking at.
Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News First at 4 starts now.
Good afternoon. I'm Karen Drew. First at 4, these flags will be getting another workout as more gusty winds are blowing into town. We just heard about a new wind advisory that will go into effect overnight. Meteorologist Brian Sherman is in for Kim today. So what is the latest, Brian?
Karen, those gusty winds, as you said, are going to be back once again. We could see wind gusts in excess of 45 to possibly 50 miles an hour overnight tonight and through at least the first half of our Saturday. Because of that, the National Weather Service has issued yet another wind advisory for all of southeastern Michigan, 1 o'clock tomorrow morning to 1 o'clock Sunday afternoon in anticipation of those gusty winds. But already this afternoon, those winds are kicking up. Most everyone's sitting into the 40s across southeastern Michigan this afternoon, but sustained winds out of the south anywhere between 10 to upwards of 20 miles an hour. And those are only going to get stronger as we head through the evening into the overnight hours tonight. And we also bring in some light rain showers to go with it as well. We'll talk more about the gusty winds and the rain and falling temperatures on Saturday. Your complete forewarned forecast coming up in just a few minutes. Karen.
A 17-year-old has been charged today, accused of bringing a gun to school while another student is getting credit for doing the right thing. Police were called to Ecorse High School yesterday after one student sounded the alarm that a teenager had a gun in his backpack. The superintendent says the student and the weapon were escorted off campus. No one was harmed. Today, Wayne County prosecutors charged a 17-year-old from Detroit with carrying a concealed weapon and one count of possession of a weapon in a weapons-free school zone. During a preliminary hearing, his bond was set at 10% of $4,000 plus no contact with Ecorse High School. 2 local police departments worked together to catch a man suspected of peeping into a child's bedroom window. There was even a chase with a canine unit. Wixom police say 54-year-old Michael Nordstrom was arrested when it was all over. It started when a mother at Meadowbrook Park Apartments reported someone looking into her child's window. Wixom police chased a suspect, but then he got away. They requested help from the Novi Canine Unit and then found a suspect a short time later. Nordstrom is facing a charge of disorderly person, plus resisting and obstructing a police officer. Paul Whelan, a Novi native who has been imprisoned in Russia, was able to call home today, and that was after a week without contact. The call took place early this morning. Paul's brother David says Paul has been moved to a prison hospital, but didn't say why he was there. Paul's family says they became concerned when they didn't hear from him. He had warned them to contact the U.S. Embassy if they ever lost touch for more than 3 days. Paul is currently serving a 16-year sentence on espionage charges that he denies. University of Michigan will face off against Purdue tomorrow night in the Big Ten Championship. The Wolverines are putting their undefeated record on the line, and Local 4 is there to cover the big game. Hobie Artigue reports from Indianapolis.
Greetings from downtown Indianapolis as the Michigan football team makes their way back here for a second straight year to play in the Big Ten Championship game. In just a few hours, the team will be making their way to the team hotel here with what I can expect will be a ton of fanfare as this team seeks yet another Big Ten Championship game. And we've already seen fans walking the streets here in downtown Indianapolis. And coming up later at 6 o'clock, we'll show you the epicenter of Michigan fandom here in downtown Indy. Visit with some people and get their expectations of what's to come in 28 hours as the Michigan Wolverines take on Purdue. We're in Indianapolis tonight. Hobie Artigue, Local 4.
Breaking news into the Local 4 newsroom. The Democrats shaking up the presidential nominating calendar by removing Iowa as the leadoff state in voting and then replacing it with South Carolina. The Democrats say the state better represents the party's electorate. The committee will have New Hampshire and then Nevada vote the following week. Georgia and Michigan round out the top 5 in later weeks. The changes begin in February of 2024. The newest jobs report continues to defy expectations. Now, that is good news, but it also kind of muddies the water when it comes to fighting inflation. The nation's employers added 263,000 jobs in November. That is more than expected. The unemployment rate stayed at 3.7%, near a 53-year low. Also, the average hourly pay jumped more than 5%. That all sounds good, but the chairman of the Federal Reserve has said jobs and wages are growing too quickly to help slow inflation, and that means you can expect interest rates to stay higher until inflation gets under control. President Joe Biden trying to convince railroad workers and labor leaders he is still fighting for them even after he forced a new contract on about 100,000 employees. Just before noon, the president signed legislation to prevent a railroad strike that he says could have slammed an already troubled economy. The deal brings raises to workers, but just one paid sick day. 4 of 12 unions rejected the deal. The president is promising the fight isn't over.
I know this bill doesn't have paid sick leave that these rail workers and frankly every worker in America deserves. But that fight isn't over. I didn't commit we were going to stop just because we couldn't get it in this bill that we were going to stop fighting for it. I've supported paid sick leave for a long time. I'm going to continue that fight till we succeed.
The House passed a bill adding 6 more days of paid leave to the contract, but that legislation failed in the Senate. The bill's signing comes just 7 days before a strike deadline set by the unions. The battle over free speech, especially on social media, continues to take a lot of different twists and turns almost daily. Today, the artist Ye, formerly known as Kanye West, is suspended from Twitter again. Twitter's owner, Elon Musk, tweeted his decision after West shared an image of a swastika superimposed over the Star of David. Ye made a series of anti-Semitic comments over the past week, and Musk says he violated Twitter's rule against inciting violence. But since Musk took over, Twitter has become a flashpoint in the battle over free speech. Earlier this week, Twitter ended a ban on COVID-19 misinformation. Musk has also said he'll offer general amnesty to people who's been suspended, provided they've not broken the law or engaged in egregious spam. Plus, Musk has invited former President Trump back to Twitter after he was kicked off for comments surrounding the January 6th attack on the Capitol. Today, Paula Tutman digs into the right to free speech, how it started, and also where it stands in 2022.
When I hear people say, I know my constitutional rights, I always wonder if they have ever really fully read the Constitution to understand the all-encompassing brilliance of the document, while also understanding that at the time it was constructed, the framers couldn't possibly know what was coming. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, and so important to form that more perfect union, it's actually the first of the amendments that prohibits an abridgment to the right to free speech. Professor Diane Hatmus is a political science professor at Oakland University who teaches constitutional law.
The framers didn't see social media. The framers had no understanding that something like Twitter would ever even exist. I mean, when you think about how hard it was to get any news out in the time of the framers, most people were illiterate. You had to find somebody who could read a broadside that had been posted.
I think the freedom of speech is one thing, or freedom in general. It's the ability to do whatever you want, but it cannot encroach on the freedom of other people.
Seems like nowadays you can just make something up and say it enough times and people believe it.
When people talk online and they preach about hate and things like that, it reaches so many other people, and now you've created a community for people to share and hate.
Dr. Margarita Guri is an expert in bad behavior.
The problem is that we're human beings, and we didn't envision technology being faster than our judgment.
Experts believe free speech has indeed become a weapon, and a dangerous one at that.
I think we are seeing the First Amendment being used to protect the most powerful and oftentimes the most dangerous people in or entities in our society. And I do not think that is what the framers had in mind.
And so what's the fix?
I think we can legislate the consequences of it. I mean, we can argue, is it dangerous to incite violence in others with our irresponsible speech? Yes, we can say that. That can be legislated.
Our government has always regulated speech. Every school child knows you can't stand in an open theater and yell fire.
That's pretty much the reason why people should be more aware of the things that they say, because we have a future generation that we should look after, and people aren't necessarily aware of that.
Paula Tutman, Local 4.
A few final notes. We did reach out to Twitter to talk about all of this and did not hear back. Former President Trump has yet to return to that site, saying he will stick with his own Truth Social. And just yesterday, Ye and Parler announced he will not buy the right-leaning social media site, which would have given the entertainer his very own platform.